is the new home for Raw Mike Richards. Brought to you by Bell Lifestyle Products. Also streaming live on saga960.ca. And now, from the Bell Lifestyle Studio, here's Mike and Dave.
Oh. Yeah, we go to Jimmy the Bag. Jimmy the Bag, his brand new channel starting today. And we say, good morning, Bag.
What's happening, fellas? Thank you for having me.
Oh, kidding. This is good. That is going to be your theme. It's going to be redone by David Lee Roth, and you're going to love it. It is going to make you more popular than you already are, which is, how can that be? I realize people probably, when you left Costa Rica, the tears must have been, wow, was that emotional probably at the airport, I'm guessing.
Just the strip clubs were sad, very sad to see my cash leave. But other than that, I don't look for friendship, Mike.
No.
I'm not out there looking for friendship. I was pretty thankful to come back.
You see,
Toronto.
All the girls, shading their eyes from the sun, limping out of the dark regions of the strip joints. Bye, Tommy. It's Jimmy, but thanks. Well, Bag, I know what you're after, and you're after the cash, right? This is what the Bag is about. And I'm curious, with all the stuff that's going on, Major League Baseball obviously coming up, what's got you busy right now? What are you hopping with? Because college basketball, we're going to talk to Maxwell Smart. We're going to get him on. What is going on in the Bags world right now in terms of gaming? What's got you going?
I'm NHL and NBA right now. I also work with the great Maxwell Smart. I found when I would stretch myself in college basketball and college football, I would start reaching and cap sports that I don't feel like I'm an expert on. Like Maxwell Smart, for instance, there's 350 Div 1 teams.
Oh, yeah.
He caps college basketball 12 months of the year. That's why he's spectacular at that. And when you start hanging around experts like that, you realize you should just focus on what you're best at and what you have faith that you can put money in people's pockets with. And for me, at this time of year, it's NHL, NBA.
Yeah, and that's perfectly said, too, because, very often people are going to say, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? It depends on the sport. And honestly, I'm not going to tell you about Major League Baseball. I'm not going to bet on baseball. I'm also not going to tell you horse racing. I'm not going to tell you about a lot of things. Even, to be honest, NHL, that's going to be Dave before it's going to be me. And if someone said, what about NFL? That's probably Dave before me. But if it's college sports, I'm going college football, college basketball.
There you go.
That's just the kind of what it is. To be honest, and see, that's the hard thing about this. It's one thing to go on and brag about all these picks you made or picks you said that you made. Your stuff is public every day, which brings us to why you're back here in Toronto. And just tell us about the new show, the new channel that's starting today.
I will. You talk about honesty, and I've always felt that was something that was missing in the handicapping of sports. And so that's something I always tried to bring to the table. So with the Bag, there are 4 core tenets of what I do. 4 core tenets. And one is the pure joy of sports gambling. 2 is the passionate pursuit of excellence in sports handicapping. 3 is honesty and integrity in sports gambling. And 4 is not taking life or yourself too seriously. And number 3, honesty and integrity in sports gambling. That's never been uttered before. No one's ever said those words before. That's how it's dicey this business is. You only hear about winners. You don't hear about the losers.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to sell you a package and sell you a play. And that was the one thing I told my guys. I was like, look, I'm never going to sell you anything. I'm never in my life going to sell you anything. What I want to do is work with you to defeat the juice. I mean, how do you beat minus 110? How do you do that? I mean, if these cappers are trying to hit 55%, right? These guys who are selling plays are trying to hit 55%. Well, we know at minus 110 you need to hit 52.9% to break even. You need to hit 56.3% to turn a profit. So these cappers are trying. Their goal doesn't get you a profit.
No, I've never really quite understood that either. It's like, look, if you take my lead pipe lock, you take my solid, my 3-star, whatever it is, and for, what is it, $15 or $20 or to belong to their little club or whatever it is, and then you never hear about the losses. Then you hear about the losses, about this one pick, and it could be just like an obvious one. It doesn't make you any money. I've never understood why people were attracted to it, but I guess if you think, you want to lay down a whole bunch of cash and probably, really heavy on the juice, I just have never understood why that's attractive to people. I never have.
I think the only angle that I see it being attractive is someone is very busy at their job, and wants to have action that night and didn't have time to handicap the card and is trusting another capper. Okay, I guess I could see that. But I enjoy handicapping the games so much. Like I was up at 4:40 this morning. I was so pumped up. I was pumped up to be on Raw Mike Richards. I was pumped up I have 2 shows a day, 11 and 5:30. I could feel just this, my palms were sweating. I'm ready to gamble. I'm ready to cap. And if you don't feel like most of the guys that run with me watch the show, they feel that same way, and we're capping together.
Hey, Jimmy, good to talk to you, pal. I wanted to talk some NCAA basketball with you. Have you started looking at the futures at all? I'm guessing that answer is yes, but they've updated some of the numbers on a couple different sites. Are you zeroing in on a couple different college teams coming up here in the next 2 weeks?
Well, what I do is I do that in the beginning of the year. So with the help of Maxwell Smart, I made 3 futures at the beginning of the year, 200 a pop.
Okay.
I took Maryland at 33-1, which is nice right now. I took LSU at 50-1. They're no longer in the top 25, but I expect them to make the tourney. And then I took the Washington Huskies at 70-1, and obviously Quad Green going out with academic ineligibility completely messed that up. So that's already counted pretty much as a loss.
How shocking that a Division I athlete would academically fall in a bad favor. That to me, that's the shock of the year.
Yeah. But it's those are risky. I can understand why you would do it now, David. I think that you're not going to get the same number as you get it earlier in the season, but you have all this information to work with, and it's an easier time to make those futures. Who are you looking at right now?
You know what? I'm just starting to crunch it a little bit. I was circling the Seton Hall Pirates. I know that number isn't as strong as what it was earlier. You can get that at plus 2,500. Other than that, Jimmy, to tell you the honest truth, I'm trying to stay away from Kansas, even though that may not be the smartest thing, but there's not overvalue there on Kansas this year. So am I thinking the Dayton Flyers as a flyer? Am I thinking Maryland right now? That was a pretty solid pick, because right now that is paying plus 1,800. You obviously got a much better number doing your numbers at the beginning of the season, but college hoops definitely isn't part of my top 4. But I start to dabble with it, just like in NASCAR. I'm starting to read a lot about NASCAR. I had Ryan Blaney yesterday. That was really good until the second last lap, and had to pull out, which was damn close, because you enjoy the race for 2 hours, and then he pulls out right at the end. But it's just little things like that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, this is a great month. It's a great month. It's a tough month for me because at the end of the month, baseball starts, and I cap baseball hard. And then So with NHL, NBA, and MLB going, it's the toughest 2 weeks until the NHL and NBA playoffs. The toughest 2 weeks of the year, because I'll have to in-depthly cap 26 to 31 games a day. Like today, for instance, I 2 NHL games, 7 NBA games. It's a really nice. You can spend a lot of time on each game, but when you start stretching yourself too thin, it gets very difficult.
Here on Twitch this morning, it's pretty busy. A lot of people saying hi here this morning. Amsterdam, what else is saying hi, Jimmy? You got Maxwell Smart is on here. You also have, a couple of names that I don't understand. And then Ski Profit. He said, tuning in for my guy, Jimmy the Bag. You've been able to carry these people, as I said before on Twitter, and I've said very often and certainly publicly about you, is that, when you're honest with people, when you, and here's Max saying, I rarely brag about my client winners and talk about the losers. He said, I lost money yesterday for everyone to see. That's the part of it. And because you do that, Jimmy, that's why they follow you. That's why your channel is going to be successful. That's why, people will subscribe to your channel. It's that kind of, not only the honesty, but also I think all the personal shortcomings that you have, the mistakes that. the bad decisions, the what, I got married, I don't remember, like those kinds of phrases. That's what keeps people coming back.
Oh, I'm chock full of shortcomings. When I was listening to you guys talk about KFC, I was like, man, Grey Cup, that sounds nice, because my dad took us to Kentucky Fried Chicken every Tuesday and Thursday night growing up. So
These are
I'm
great.
still angry. I'm still angry about that. The empty fridge, just Cheese Whiz in the fridge. Going back to Ski and Maxwell Smart, I mean,
Yeah.
these guys deserve. When I first met them, I was like, man, you guys deserve a voice. Ski Profit is widely known right now as the best NBA capper there is.
Really?
Maxwell Smart, the best that there is going today. The single number one NBA capper in the game right now, Ski Profit. Maxwell Smart, known as the best NCAA basketball capper there is in the game right now. And so it was. See, there's so much competition in this industry. It's like there's so many guys who want to be the only capper in the game or the only capper that's listened to. They don't understand that you can rise together and that teamwork, when you have teamwork and you build a real team that cares about each other and fights for each other and caps with each other and gives each other the sharpest and tightest information, that you all win together. It's like any industry. You want to hang out with winners. You don't want to hang out with losers. Winning begets winning. And these guys, rolling with Ski and Maxwell Smart, I'm very thankful, and it gives me. They inspire me to be better and to fight harder and to wake up earlier and to cap harder, and so I'm thankful to run. And Mike, you do the same. David, Mike, your show is when I first started working with you, Mike, you inspired me to be better on screen. You want to hang out and you want to work with people who are succeeding, and you don't want to be jealous of them. You want to support them.
Yes. Yeah, and also so further to that, and I was actually just going back and forth with Maxwell Smart. So because it's rare, certainly here in Canada, and for sure in the GTA, where this kind of gaming talk, the gambling talk, there is no place for it. You really can't find it. It doesn't exist right now, especially on the other two sports stations. They have no clue. So what I want to do is basically open up, because we actually now have access to the airwaves in terrestrial radio, that we use this to our advantage in exactly the way that you just mentioned it. You're going to have your channel. You've got all these specialists. You've got guys like Max and Ski. You've got all these other guys. Well, this is going to become a landing spot as well for anything that you need to talk about whenever you want to talk about. So we're going to do this as often as you would like. This is going to become not only the show, but the station for us to actually get the names out, get your channels out, get your profiles out, get everything that people have, and there's never been access to it because, quite honestly, it's laziness. It's like you said, the guy that's just too busy and then just wants to buy bets. That's not gambling. That's not betting. That's not even really any fun. If you're just trying to buy winners, I don't. It's to be involved in trying to crack that code that's going to give you the big win or get you the cash. That's what the fun part of it. So that's what Raw Mike Richards is becoming. And now that you're back here, now that you have your own channel, now that we have these guys that are exclusive to a sport, this is how we're going to use this show. And I got to tell you, I'm excited about the future of doing these kinds of things. And of course, as you know, a massive part of our sponsorship in doing this is Sports Interaction. So I hope that people, because you need more than one book, that hopefully they'll also turn to Sports Interaction and we all benefit and we all start making some cash.
Oh, man, that's so good. And Sports Interaction is a great book. You get great numbers. And we talked about it on the Super Bowl, when I was with you on the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I mean, they were hanging that 55 for you when all the other books were at 54.5. Sports Action was saying, hey, if you want to take unders, get them here.
Yep.
Get them here. So that's very, very exciting to hear that, Mike. And I'm all over it. And and the thing about this business is you got to get ahead of the number. I mean, I already jumped on the Knicks Rockets under 230, and the earlier we can talk about these spots and these plays that we're going to jump on,
Yeah.
the better our audience is going to do, because that number is already down to 229. That's already dropped a full point. You've got to get ahead of these numbers, and having this morning show allows us to. Like when we were trying to figure out morning show for my show, we were trying to get the right time, but the main thing people were saying was you have to have it as early as possible.
Correct.
To get ahead of the numbers. Well,
that's how we're going to use this. That's how this is going to happen. If there's something all of a sudden you want to jump in and we're talking to the Pope and say, excuse me, Pontiff, but I was talking about the children. Yeah, okay, fine, but Jimmy the Bag has just seen some line movement on the Knicks game, and we got to cut you off. I'm really sorry. It's a much bigger story. The Pope. Yeah.
The Pope has a bad cold right now. We're all worried sick about him.
Oh, is that right?
Hey, Bag, before we let you go, two NHL games. Are you playing any of them today?
I'm very close to pulling the trigger on the Red Wings first period, and you can get that at plus 200. The issue for me is that I did this the last time these two teams met up, and the Avalanche won 6-3. I cashed my Red Wings first period because they were up 1-0. I feel like the Avalanche, who won 8 straight road games, 6 straight overall, but 8 straight road games. I just feel like you go into Detroit against the worst team in the league, and you might get a little sloppy early.
Yeah.
And then, but I haven't pulled the trigger. And even last time these two teams met up, it took me till 3 o'clock in the afternoon to have the balls to pull the trigger on the Detroit Red Wings first period. So I haven't pulled the trigger yet. And then I like the Predators here at home, but I don't trust the Nashville Predators. I mean, clearly they're a different team with Ryan Ellis in the lineup. I do not believe in this Oilers squad. But the Predators, I just feel like they're syndicates that believe in this team more than what the numbers are telling us, and they're always overbet. Right now, it opened at about minus 135 or minus 140. It's down to minus 125 to minus 130. So in that situation, I would take them on the -1 line.
Yeah.
If your book doesn't give you -1, I have a calculator that I use to create a -1 line, and so that you break even if they win by a goal. But if they win by more than a goal, then you start getting paid big. For those two spots, I think I will pull the trigger. I want to talk them out loud. My show's at 11 a.m. This morning on my YouTube channel, Jimmy the Bag. But I need to talk them out, and that's what I love about my show is that the chat is so important. They lead me to cash, and I listen to them, and so I need to cap with them before I pull the trigger at this point.
Now, just so before we let you go, so people listening this morning, there's a couple things. Number one, they want to know about the channel, the name of the channel, and how many times you're going on.
Yeah, I'm twice a day, 11 a.m., 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and that's at Jimmy the Bag YouTube channel. I've gone independent.
Yes.
And, which creates a situation where I need to win. It's never been more important ever in my career than right now. When you see $0 coming in, you know that you got to get that cash. I've been getting it. It's so funny. Ever since I left a nice paying job at Sports Review, I've been getting that cash. I had a nice little wager on Maximum Security in the Saudi Cup. On Saturday, I took the Leafs over my beloved Knuckleheads as well on Saturday. And I'm rolling right now, and I have to get that cash, Mike, and I'm excited to come on your show and hang with you guys and talk capping and get people money in their pockets.
We're going to do it all the time. By the way, the other question, what does leche mean? Now, I know what it means in Spanish, but in the and low bagger. Maybe you can explain for people who are unfamiliar, leche and low bagger. Do you have explanations for these that you can say on terrestrial radio?
Yes, absolutely. Leche is milking the bookies.
Nice.
We have to milk the bookies, and the only way we do that is working together.
Yes.
Because it's a -110 situation, right? We're not, as we talked about earlier on the show, I mean, 56.2% to turn a profit, 52.9% to break even. We have to work together to milk the bookies. That's who we're against. We're not. That's why the competitive idea in this business makes no sense to me, because we only should be competitive against the books. Yes, we love sports interaction, but we need to take sports interactions money.
Leche.
That's the most important thing. And low bagger is a term for the fans and the cappers on my show, because I started with the legend Peter Loshak, the legend Lodels Loshak. And so when Pete left Costa Rica and left SBR, he taught us about honesty. He led by example, and there was none of that transparency in the capping game, because then you start losing. How do you sell picks if you're hitting at 47%? So he was different. He taught us about transparency. So the low is for the legend Loshak, and the bag is for me. So they're low baggers.
Well, then Dave and I are low baggers then, correct? We're low baggers.
I love it.
I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
I am
Oh
that.
man,
I am.
we're gonna get some Kentucky Fried Chicken
Yeah.
in a minute here.
By the way, are you? I think I might know the answer. Are you for morning drinking? I'm just curious. Morning drinking?
If I'm at the horse races or it's Super Sunday, but when I'm on a Monday to Friday when I'm capping, I can't.
Yeah, I know.
Do it. I just you know what happens after you get a few in you.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you've got 25 in you, and walking down the street with my shirt completely unbuttoned and the ass cut out of my pants.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the magic of Jimmy the Bag here this morning. Buddy, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to do this on a regular basis, or quite honestly, whenever you want. This is so awesome that you're back home again and that you're a part of us and doing what we do. Make sure you subscribe to Jimmy the Bag, the channel on YouTube. Once again, it's, what'd you say, 11 a.m. and 5:30 Eastern?
Yeah, 11 a.m., 5:30 p.m. Thank you guys so much for having me. I love being a part of this show, and I'm excited to do more on it.
You too, brother. We'll talk to you again soon, and good luck today.
Thank you, guys. Be well.
That is the legendary Jimmy the Bag. Leche.
I only missed this by 8 minutes.
That's okay. That's okay. I was watching some things on here. Very good. Shout out to all those who have joined us for the first time, and there's a bunch. Brooklyn Funk. You're a low bagger. I consider myself a low bagger. There's a bunch in here. Bagger for life. By the way, thanks so much for joining us on Twitch. Make sure you sign up. It is free, and we'll have Jimmy on a regular basis, and look forward to the debut of Maxwell Smart when we start talking about college basketball.